Hey everybody, Whip here, and welcome on back to Building with Whip. Today we're back here in our new-ish village project at this point in time. I'm absolutely in love with what we've been able to do so far. This little blacksmith that we built in the last episode, this small little alleyway that we have in here, everything is just looking so very cool, and I think it's just, I love the atmosphere that we are creating inside of this village. I think we're doing a perfect job of it. But my friends, we are back here today because we're going to be working on that atmosphere even more, creating a bunch of custom farmland as well as creating our fisherman's hut, which first and foremost we got to before we come down here, first we got to find our little seabird. Where is he? We had our little seabird down here that we were going to name. He's disappeared. No, my friends, I think he's abandoned us. I don't know where he is. He decided to pick up and fly off into warmer weather. I was going to name him if we find him. If we find him around here, we'll name him today. But first and foremost, a lot of people mentioned the last time that we didn't have an area here to cool down steel after it was like pulled out from the forge before you smashy it into this thing, you know, as I perfectly proved with my model there. And then you'd want to cool the steel in cold water somewhere. So I'm thinking we're going to come right over here with a cauldron and just slap a bucket of water in that guy so we can have a cauldron over here. I know it's probably not the perfect location. It would more realistically be somewhere around here, but that just kind of blocks everything off. I like this too wide open walkway throughout the entire thing, so I think I'm going to leave that for now. But that being said, my friends, we are getting started on today's episode. First and foremost, I've been doing some work over here doing some terraforming. So let's get to the time lapse. I've done it, my friends. I've found him. I found him. I did. Yep, there he is. There he is. He's venturing throughout the town. All right, everybody. Welcome. Oh, is that you? Or is this you? You two look the same. Which seabird is our original seabird? Well, we're going to go with this guy. He's closer to the sea. Let's get you down into the sea. You know, right here like this. Yep. Welcome to River Rose. Gully. Hi, Gully. Welcome on in. This was everyone who would see Gulliver from Seagull. Or then somebody was like, just Goalie for short. So now we've got Goalie or Seabird in here. These guys need a name too. We have our sea sheep. Oh, are you a manatee? Your face kind of looks like a manatee. I feel if Minecraft had manatees, their faces would look. I'm sorry, I just called you a manatee. That's probably not the best compliment you've ever received. Let's get to building. We've got a little bit of a situation over here, folks. I've been starting to get our fisherman hut in place so we can actually, do some work on it today and get this one built up. And that's going to be causing that block to drop here. And the issue is sightlines. One thing that I always am trying to work with inside of this game is sightlines. Granted, we're probably going to be the ground on this side. Let's say we're going to be about up to here. But I love that you can see into that alley and see through there. I know this building is kind of off to the side, but if we brought that up and even capped it off right here and then did that same flooring pattern that we did on those sides where we have like it coming up basically 5 blocks, then we do an arch roof and everything like that. This structure right here is going to be completely blocking our furnace area. Not something we really want because I want to keep everything inside this one so we can see all the pretty buildings. We want to have a little bit of a slope to the hill so it feels like they're kind of raising up to the points on the center of the hill. And yep, that's the inside of the bridge, folks. But what I'm doing over here is I'm just kind of making it much smaller for now and only bringing these walls up 3 high, whereas back here they were coming up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and this one's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 coming down another block. So this is going to be much lower, but if we come all the way down over here, they're still coming all the way down to the base. So I know it's a lot of very weird way of kind of getting around everything on this one, but I think this would be a good way to actually balance it out and actually make this build look a lot bigger and kind of occupy the space in a better way. So I'm gonna keep messing around with this one. I think it's just gonna come up to this point right here, and then we'll be dropping it down a good chunk, or just dropping it down is not a good way to refer to it, but I think what I'm gonna be doing is coming over to this side with a spruce stair, and I don't have any trapdoors on me right now, but then we can do spruce stair here, and then we can come over to this point and get these guys up here and bring in some of our white concrete, maybe a little white concrete powder, and that would kind of bring us up to this top point, and then we bring over the stairs right like this. And then on top of those, we're gonna be a little shy on this jump here, but on top of these, what we're gonna be doing is just bringing up a simple step area. So that'll come up to here, this will come up to here, that'll come up like that, and then we just bring it into the center, and I think it'll work out just fine. So we still get a little bit of that wooden accent to everything here, but we're not really messing up with it as much as we were with everything else. So that'll just kind of extend out over this side a little bit and overhang on the back side a little bit, and maybe we bring out a tiny one right in here just to help disrupt the face of it. So we can bring in a little 5 wide one right in there, and that'll kind of bring it up a little bit on here, and then we can bring in those fences and everything, and that should be a good amount of detail thrown in this one. It's gonna be a much smaller build than everything else, but it is a fisherman's hut after all. We don't need our fisherman hut to be massive. Made a little bit of progress here on the build, and the base area is pretty much in, and I threw a door right back in there that you'll be able to see that we're gonna actually be building a little bit of a deck over on this side with a ramp to get down there like we had briefly talked about in the past. And the base area, minus like leaves and stuff, is pretty much decorated now. I like it. I actually think it turned out pretty well, but we can park our way up here and start stacking up some of the spruce wood, because we're gonna be doing a little bit of a different roof style for today's build, and I want to bring y'all back in for this one, because if we just do these colors across here everywhere, it'll get a little boring. It'll feel very samey, like same everywhere, and it's just not good. So now we're making something a little bit same but different, going with a few other blocks that are still in that same hue that we are using previously. So for this one, what we're going to be tackling is we're going to be using some brick, some granite, and some brick blocks, and some granite blocks, and I think that should be pretty good for us. Let me quickly get this spruce stair going all the way around. Hopefully we got enough of them, and I'll get to the roof. A good tip for building roofs, if you're trying to figure them out for yourselves and figure out where the lines would meet up and everything like that, take the top points, like this one right here, we're bringing it back into this main beam, and then we have a main beam across here. Just helps to bring things together for me and get them a little bit better in my mind. But what I want to do here is this one's going to be, I think, largely granite, and we're going to dot in a little bit of brick to kind of help darken it up here and add things together. But the way that I want to do the brick is bringing it almost in like strips. So they're kind of connected up in here, and then maybe this one will be like 3 brick right across there, or maybe we can do 4, and then we can kind of fill in the rest of the granite bit. So like the granite is kind of what it mostly is, or maybe it was that originally, and then it gets chipped away, and then somehow the brick texture is what was under there originally, and they maybe tried to like smooth over it or something along those lines. I don't really know. It's just kind of what's happening in my brain right now. And after we do this, be able to roughen it up and make it a little bit more like what we had on the previous one, being the main builds that are made with the full blocks, is I want to come back in with some full granite blocks and full brick blocks and just kind of dot them around in here, roughen up this roof, going with more of a rustic style than not. It's pretty easy to do, just kind of dotting them in around here. You can just do it very sporadically and random. But one thing that I also like to do is similar to how we did this brick pattern right in here, is bring a little bit of that back into how you're doing these guys. And a very interesting way that you can do this is actually, let's add a full block right there, and we add a stair right here, so it looks like it's a full block and a half going out this way, and you can get you can be a little bit more creative with the shapes that you're using for a lot of these. So we have something like that maybe. And then right up here, let's go ahead and get rid of these 3 right like that and make this a very large one. Fill in a brick right there, and we can do another granite block, and that'll kind of help to bring those things out. We can bring some slabs on top of them too if we would like to, but for now I'm just going to stick with doing the full blocks being something more like this. And I think that's a good way to do it. I'll get the rest of this in. I'll do a little bit of top decoration in here, and I think a great way that we can add to this one is adding, instead of what we've been using for the brick chimneys all over the place, is we'll do a little bit of a stone brick, or maybe like a diorite one or something like that, just to bring it in line. And for the house, we get a little something like that. I think it fits in here pretty well for ourselves. We'll land here on the bridge to get a better view of it. Just kidding, there's diorite in the way. But I think it works out. I think once we can get the, that's gonna be a pain in the butt to get back here. Actually, I can just do that, and then we can stand on top of it. Perfect! But I think that's a good way that we can mix things up. I've still got a lot of detail to do on this side, mostly, but the other sides are pretty much done, besides adding in some nice bushes. And it should be good, but I think if we do a small little deck around there, so where you can maybe walk from, like, all the way here to, like, one beyond the door, and then somehow we'll get a small staircase or a ladder dropping down to a lower point. I'm okay with re-terraforming this area and recreating it a little bit, but I think that'll be something fun to do, so let's get to it. Goalie here has returned to the seaside, and he's just hanging out here. Really likes this back alleyway. He keeps leaving eggs there, and I pick him up and throw him around and see if we can't get him some friends, but so far that has been unsuccessful. What has been more successful is we've got this great interior space in here with our smoker and some torches, and outside here we've got the start of a balcony area, which I actually like. I think it worked out pretty well. It's very rickety, and that's kind of what I'm planning for in this one. And then it's even more of a rickety staircase to get down here. We've got a point where you can sit down here, drop your fishing pole in this little tide pool of sorts and see what you can't pull out. Got a nice little bucket to catch some things in. And I've been working on this. This is a design that I've found online and kind of refitted to myself. I can't seem to find the original creator of it, but one thing that I really loved about it is that there's a boat. The boat somehow gets down into here, and I think I need to maybe get those trapdoors on the lower half of that block. I've been having a heck of a time here, my friends, trying to get this guy to actually drop down in there so it looks like you can row the thing, which I thought was a very cool way of doing it. So that's kind of what attracted me to doing this boat design here. So I'm coming through and trying to get these things to work out for us, and ooh, that actually set him in there. But now, actually, I think I need to get it out of there and put it back in later, because what I want to do is, let's see if we can't get you back on here. Put oak trapdoor on the bottom and one on the bottom, and then I think maybe we can get the boat inside of there. So if we do this and just back it up, and maybe it will drop down. No, it looks like it's not. We might have to change that stair into a slab or something, because I don't really want to use old pistons here to get this thing in place for just this little tiny boat that's never going to do anything. So let's see if we can't just break this guy right here. How bad does it look if we just take this and move it back down here? We're going to leave it at that. That seems totally fine for me. But that's kind of what I want to do for working on the village today. I'm hoping in every single episode that we do inside this place, we're building up at least one house and whatever else we're having for the main topic of the episode, which today, my friends, is going to be this. We're going to be making giant custom fields, but first and foremost, I need to get this pathway back in here, get that thing sorted out and make sure it looks all nice, and then we will talk about how we're going to plan out the shapes of these here fields. I figured for this time lapse here, it'd be nice to just kind of chat with you all throughout this one and just talk here about the idea that I'm using for creating these fields. So obviously going around the entire thing, we're using the spruce leaves and birch leaves that we've been using elsewhere for kind of the plants and flowers and bushes type stuff going on. And then the shapes that I'm making for a lot of these is kind of just, I guess that top one is almost like a peanut shape of sorts, as I'm just using the roadway as a border of sorts for where we can trace that main line from, and then I'm using a lot of blobby shapes around those, and in between all of the fields I want to have some space where we can have some trees, we can have just some extra foliage, just a lot of greenery and grass and just things growing up, so it's not field running into field running into field. There's a little bit of those areas, those 3-4 wide walkways that are just something to break it up. If we need to walk through them, we can, and get to further fields. My friends, it's time to see if we get any additional seabirds for ourselves. Do we get any new ones? Nope, not happening. Well, moving on to what we should probably be focusing on, and that is going to be working on these fields a little bit further, as I've already spent quite a lot of time out here dealing with these ones. It's been a project and a half, friends. After that time lapse, I came back and completely... Ooh, a seabird egg. Any luck? Ooh, a seabird! Native seabird! Anyways, I came over here and I did a lot of work in replacing all of the grass with coarse dirt and regular dirt, and I'm just letting the grass regrow over the dirt because I think it'll be really cool. But one thing I want to do before we get to planting these giant peony fields is I wanted to dot in a bunch of these flowers right along the edge. I felt like it could be a really cool little bit of detail going with a lot of these, just adding in these small strips. I'm thinking a tree right in this area could be pretty cool here as well, but that'll be something we can get to later on. But I love having these big field borders and then just flowers and things mixed in with all of the leaves that we have. It just looks so very cool in my opinion. So coming down here, we can just finish dotting a few of these ones here. But my friends, it is time that we kick this off into yet another big old-fashioned time-lapse mode and plant these fields down and hopefully have enough bone meal to make those peonies. Now, my friends, it is time to walk through these lovely fields that we have here. We've got a bit more terraforming work that needs to be done, specifically back in this region and areas around these spots. So we need to bring in a lot more of those custom rocks and detail bits like this, but that'll be stuff that we can tackle later on as we move throughout. And one thing I did want to bring in was just a little bit more bone meal to bring some of these taller grassy bits into here, so it's a little harder to see through these areas, but like some of them back here we'll terraform and do a little something like what we have with that right over there. But another thing that we can start to add in here is just bringing in little bits of fences along here and bordering like the fronts of our fields, like where you can get into these, and then we can just dot some lanterns on top of them. So it just feels a little bit more decorative as we're moving throughout this place. I think it's a great detail that we can add in. So we can just do something like, ooh, that's not where the lantern's supposed to go. Let's bone meal that up and get some more lovely grassy bits in there. And just start to border this area just ever so slightly, so we don't have to interrupt anything too much in here, just adding in these little bits. But as we walk throughout this area, it just feels so cool, especially with the sun setting. I love how it grows upwards, up of this hill as you move throughout it. I know we are a shining beacon of light right now, but just this hill growing upwards with the peony fields is so very cool. And we can come back here and just dot in a few more of these. If we get those random wildflowers in here, I don't really mind too much. I think they look okay, and adding to the whole colorful mess of this area, that's something very cool indeed. One last glimpse at this area as the sun is coming up. It is looking fantastic. I love these fields. They're so cool. Let me know what y'all think about them in the comments below. Should we add some more fields and make it even more large and grand and crazy? And we've got quite a few bone blocks left and quite a few stacks of peonies, so we got the room to make that stuff happen. I didn't quite realize that one stack of bone blocks would give me 9 stacks of peonies, so that was pretty sweet. One last final thing I want to do in today's episode while we are here is I want to decorate this little area out. I don't think this structure is going to be much wider or larger than that one. Maybe we'll give it like a 1 block space going around the entire thing, but we've got to get a little bit of like a fisherman workstation set up in there to go along with our boat. I guess it probably would make sense to have a way down to it, but that's not really going to happen. And there we have it, my friends. We got a little bit of a fisherman working station, and I think it's pretty fantastic. We've just got some fish nets here with our cobwebs, another one over here kind of attached into the tree. Here we have a fish cleaning station, so we got our lever being a knife, and then this little thing would be like where you'd be cleaning off the gills and the scales and everything off of your fishies and dropping all that junk into here. And then I did add in a small little walkway to get yourselves all the way down here, then walk right across the river's edge, and you can get back up into the pier, which is absolutely awesome, and we're good to go on this one. So I've got my comment or question of the day picked out today from Renner here. I was just thinking you can make a painting as hanging fish as a decoration, and I think that's a really cool idea. So for those who are not familiar with my texture pack, let's jump over into a super flat world, where inside of here I have a giant wall with all of the paintings. A few paintings that I have done myself have occupied the transparent background, which now through a awesome mod that I mentioned last episode or 2 episodes back, we now have the transparent paintings back as the background texture, which is great. So right now we have a potion rack, we've got a little bit of like blacksmith tools, and we have like kitchen tools, and we've got just like some notes. And then where is my, I don't have my big guy on here. Let's see if we can't get that one out here. All right, let's go. Boop, boop. Perfect. That's another one that I have of just a screenshot that I taken and downscaled. I need to fix it up and clean it up a little bit further, but it's a pretty cool one. But anyways, I have a few plans so far of, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 more 1x1 paintings, and I kind of want to do a spice rack for one, and then maybe I was thinking dried veggies, which also a dried fish one could work on as well. For one of these 2 tall ones, 1 wide, I want to do a coat rack. I think just like a little wooden beam up here with some coats hanging down off of it, maybe even taking like this little design right there and have that be a coat, some scarves and things like that. And then I was thinking with one of these or whatever, we can make another shelf thing. This could be some bigger shelves. But if you have any ideas on what we can add for paintings like these and turn them into usable items that you can use to decorate a house and not just paintings of the sorts, I really need help with what to do for these bigger things. But anyways, let me know that down in the comments below. What paintings would you like to see added in to my resource pack? There would be more stuff to help you decorate in detail, kind of like we have kitchen tools right here. But my friends, that is going to have to do it for today. Thank you so very much for watching. We are going to be ending it off here, right here inside of my testing world. Please be sure to click that like button down below if you did enjoy today's video. Click that subscribe button if you're brand new. And my friends, I will catch you on the flip side.